Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So I am hopeful, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure at Manchester United, can become successful. We haven't enjoyed a great start to the season, 5 games into the Premier League season. We have won one, we've drawn 2, and of course we have lost one, but it was very, very good, that we did get back to winning ways at the weekend against Leicester, winning by 1-0 and it is a good result, reflecting on, the amount of injuries, Manchester United have had. Obviously, we have got quite a few imperative players out, with injury. Obviously, now we do know that we've got games coming up thick and fast. Obviously, we have got, FC Astana, in the Europa League this Thursday. Obviously, that's a game Manchester United need to win. Obviously, we've got West Ham away, I think that's on Sunday. And hopefully, we can, some more players, can recover from injury. So hopefully, Pogba and Anthony Martial, will be available for the game against West Ham. Then after West Ham, it is Rochdale in the Carabao Cup, and then we do go at home to Arsenal. So they are the next 3 to 4 games. So I think Man United have obviously got to win all of them, because now we've got to go on a winning run. If we do want to keep our hopes up, for that top 4, because I did initially say at the start of the season our expectations this season, will be to finish in that top 4. But I actually did say that at the end of last season, because I did say analysing our squad at the moment, it isn't good enough to win the league or a challenger of the league. And I did initially say, our aspirations, will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. But we have got big ambitions for the future, and obviously, those ambitions are, to get back, to winning silverware and compete. And obviously, this is something, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does want to bring back to the football club. And I know the vast majority of people out there in that and football fans, have got huge doubts about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But hopefully, like I said, his tenure at Manchester United, can become successful. I did say, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers, because we're not really known for a sacking club, like I do keep saying on videos. But despite the fact that, we have sacked 3 managers, since the Alex Ferguson era, because obviously, we've had different managers with different philosophies. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager, since the Alex Ferguson era. But, I've got element of concerns about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer myself, to be quite honest here, because, he hasn't really got the experience as a manager to the highest level. So that is an element of concern. Some of his, tactics and that are questionable. So I do think, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does need to be given more time, to make further more investment in January and maybe perhaps next summer. Because I think, the board did a short at the start of this season that, regardless of what happens this season, even maybe if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't exceed expectation levels this season, his job, should be safe for him at least this season. Because I think the board, realised that they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, throughout the course of the summer. This is what, the board realised. But like I said, furthermore investment is needed in January. The question is, who will Manchester United, sign in January? Because obviously in January we've got to look, to address, more of the problematic areas in the squad. Throughout the course of the summer, we did address some of the problematic areas, so it is good in that aspect. We've got that experienced centre half in, we got that right back in. But obviously, we didn't get that midfielder in, because obviously that midfield is one of the priority areas, of course, where Manchester United do need to strengthen up. Don't forget, analysing the majority of the summer as well, Manchester United were in search for them right winner. I do believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will stick, with his transfer strategy. That means he'll want to continue the pursuit of young homegrown players, like he did confirm earlier on in the summer. But we did spend over £140 million this summer on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and of course on Harry Maguire. And we have seen glimpses of what good signings, they've proven to be so far. But we do know it's not enough for Manchester United. But I think analysing the squad, is definitely, good enough for a top 4 finish. Definitely, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, it all went well, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was the interim manager, in that 3-month period, last season. And he did really, really well. The results were good. He exceeded expectation levels in that. And obviously, since he got the job permanently in March earlier on this year, it just seemed to have all gone wrong basically. But I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. He's a club legend. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. And he did actually say, Solskjaer, earlier on in the summer, that he believes he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. But I think he does need at least a season, maybe even 2 seasons, to see you know, what other players and that, you know, he can bring in. Despite the fact as well that a lot of players have now left, you know, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, I still believe, you know, as we speak now, there is problematic players at the football club. So maybe we do need to get rid of a couple of more players in January and maybe perhaps next summer. So this is what I think Manchester United do need to do. I also credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the aspect, you know, that he has got a lot of, you know, trustworthy and his young upcoming players, as we all know, because obviously we've seen Rashford play regularly this season, Martial, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, you know, they've played on a regular basis this season, so that just shows that he has got a lot of trustworthy in his young players, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, Rashford analysing his performances, you know, he's done okay this season. I don't think he's performed to the same sort of extent as how Martial, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire have performed and that. But you know, I think he's done okay as Rashford. Obviously, he's played centrally in the last 2 games, you know, due to Anthony Martial's absence as Rashford. But I still say that Rashford is a long-term solution for Manchester United. It actually recently said that, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, was infuriated with Rashford's recent performances. So it did say in that aspect he was considering giving Mason Greenwood more of a prominent role at the football club. And I'm surprised that Mason Greenwood, you know, didn't play you know, in the game against Leicester. I'm surprised he didn't participate at all, but I thought, you know, he would have actually, you know, got the start, Mason Greenwood, because Mason Greenwood has not yet started a game from the start of this season. You know, he has, you know, made 4 substitute appearances. So the question is, you know, when is Mason Greenwood, you know, going to get given the chance at Manchester United, you know, from the start? That is the question. He's only 17 years of age, but I think it's his time, you know, to fulfil that number 9 role. And don't forget, you know, Mason Greenwood, you know, made his full debut last season in the, you know, 2-0 home defeat to Cardiff. That was his full Premier League debut, like I said, and he scored 30 goals in 29 games last season. Also was a fruition throughout pre-season, so for me, he needs to get given more opportunities. But Solskjaer, I don't think it's like got any element of concerns about, you know, that attacking line, you know, despite the fact that, you know, Lukaku's left, Sanchez has left, you know, he still believes, you know, we're not short of options in that attacking line. Some people believe now we are a bit short up front. But I think, you know, all the young players, you know, should get given their chances this season. In regards to Chong, you know, Solskjaer did say the same thing about Chong, you know, what he said to Mason Greenwood. You know, obviously he's assured, you know, more opportunities is Chong. Don't forget, Chong received loan offers early on in the summer, you know, from PSV and his former club Feyenoord. But obviously, you know, he wanted to remain loyal to Manchester United, did Chong, which is, you know, very, very good. I think he's definitely staying for this season. Don't forget, he's been at the club overall since 2016 as Chong. So overall, this is now his 4th season, I think, at Manchester United. It did say the other week that Chong, you know, was in negotiations with a football club over a new contract. He is a right winner, don't forget. He is only 19 years of age. Chong actually made his, played his first game in the Premier League, you know, against Leicester. Obviously, you know, came on as a substitute. Angel Gomez, now I think, you know, he needs to get given a chance this season, because I thought, you know, he would have played in the Leicester game. I also presumed that he would have played in the Southampton game, but didn't participate in any of them games. But it didn't initially say that Angel Gomez is going to be a big part of the squad this season. And I do believe, you know, he is one of our midfield options is Angel Gomez. Obviously, you know, in regards to Alex Tuanzebe, I think he made his first appearance, you know, this season in the 1-0 win against Leicester. He obviously, you know, came on as a substitute. Obviously, Alex Tuanzebe is one of our centre backs. Obviously, despite the fact that Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice, I still believe, you know, that Alex Tuanzebe, you know, should get given his chances. Don't forget, he's got that experience, because he got that experience last season, because he was on loan with Aston Villa. But yeah, so I think quite a few players have performed quite well this season. You know, quite a lot of players have, you know, been below par. But I haven't really seen much improvements this season, you know, than what I saw last season. Because obviously, you know, last season was a huge disappointment. You know, we finished 6th. Obviously, you know, we failed to win any 2, and obviously, you know, failed to qualify for the Champions League. And like I did say, in that aspect, you know, it did go against us in the summer transfer window. Because I did say at the time, you know, certain players at a certain calibre and level, you know, would have had, you know, reservations about joining the football club. But yeah, definitely furthermore investment is needed in January, because I think Solskjaer was talking about our recruitment policy earlier on in the summer, and analysing our recruitment policy, you know, isn't very, very good to be quite honest, because prior to the summer transfer window, you know, in the recent windows we didn't do enough business. You know, we didn't get on in January. You know, we didn't get our number 1 targets last summer, you know, under the Jose Mourinho era. But yeah, there was a lot of players on our agenda, throughout the course of the summer, but we didn't manage to get most of them. Obviously, I think we'll probably reignite our interest in some of the players, we was in for in the summer, probably in January, I should presume. I should presume. But like I said, we're still not being clinical enough in front of goal, and this is another concern I've got regarding Man United. We've only scored 8 goals so far this season in 5 games, so that's really not enough goals. And like Gary Neville was talking about Man United the other week, he gave us a more overarching view, and he actually said he believes that Manchester United are on the right track under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But we are creating chances, which we obviously did last season, but didn't manage to score enough goals. But we're just not being clinical enough in front of goals, so we haven't got that clinical element. We're not being ruthless enough in front of goal, and this is a problem that Manchester United do need to justify. I've seen slight improvements this season than what I saw last season. We do look a bit better in the attacking third of the pitch, because we have now got that pace up front, and that pace is something obviously Man United lacked last season. I think we look better defensively, obviously with the arrival of Harry Maguire, and I do believe Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are blending in fantastically well in that back line. But Solskjaer needs time, like I said. He's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United squad, as I think you are all aware of. There's only 3 players that are Solskjaer's. Don't forget. Don't forget about that. Obviously, I give you the news tonight earlier on in regards to Nemanja Matic. I think Man United. I think he's another player that does need to leave Manchester United now. As I updated you earlier on, there's been reports circulating out of the media in the last couple of days in regards to Nemanja Matic, and it reportedly says that Juventus are interested in signing Nemanja Matic on a free transfer next summer, because we do know that Nemanja Matic's current deal expires at the end of the season, but actually Man United do have an option to extend Matic's contract by a further year, because obviously when he officially signed for the club, Matic, back in 2017, obviously he did sign a 3-year deal with an option for the year. Obviously, we do know that we paid around £40 million for him at the time. This was obviously not under the Jose Mourinho, whereas at the time we had Mourinho. Obviously, Mourinho got that reunion with Nemanja Matic, because I actually believe that Mourinho, when he was at the club, had some kind of obsession, with tall players and that. I know it does sound weird, but yeah, we did pay around £40 million for him, and now this is Matic's 3rd season as a Manchester United player. Obviously, Matic actually was first choice last season, because our first choice midfield trio last season was actually Matic, Herrera, and Paul Pogba and that. And we have seen glimpses, of how good, Nemanja Matic can be. He can pass the ball well. Comparing him to Fellaini, I think he's a better passer than Marion Fellaini. But I've got a lot of element of concerns about Matic. He's too slow. He's too slow, his passing's good, but he's too slow, and he does make that midfield, look totally imbalanced. Excuse me, guys, I'm sorry about that. I've just got a cough. But yeah, he does make that midfield, look totally imbalanced. So reportedly, Juventus are interested in getting him on a free transfer at the end of the season. I think Nemanja Matic has become infuriated, with his lack of playing time this season, because Nemanja Matic only made his first start of the season in the 1-0 victory over Leicester. I know that the main reason why actually Matic started that game, because obviously it was due to the absence of Paul Pogba. So Matic is really becoming infuriated. Obviously Matic has fallen down the pecking order. Obviously our preference is obviously McTominay over Nemanja Matic, and I think the likes of McTominay, Pereira, and Fred, they're all better solutions than Nemanja Matic in my opinion. But I think Scott McTominay has had a great start to this season for Manchester United. In regards to him being a long-term solution for Man United, I have got element of concerns about that, but I think he deserves to keep his place in the team, because it obviously reflects on his recent performances. He also did really well throughout pre-season, mainly this season. McTominay has been playing alongside Pogba in that midfield, but obviously in the game against Leicester, obviously Matic played alongside him. Solskjaer obviously made alterations in that game, obviously reflecting on the amount of injuries that Manchester United have got. But yeah, I'd love Nemanja Matic to leave the football club. He's aging up anyway, like I said. He is 31 now. He is 31 now. I think Matic has made about 88 appearances for the club in all competitions. 66 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. And don't forget, Juventus are known for getting players on free transfers in recent years. Don't forget, this summer, they got Adrian Rabiot on a free transfer. They got Aaron Ramsey on a free transfer, and I think they got Emre Can on a free transfer. So they could do the same thing, with Nemanja Matic, when his contract term expires, unless we try and cash in for Nemanja Matic in January, but he is no longer a first choice. So I think in that aspect, Nemanja Matic does want to leave the football club. Obviously Juventus also tried getting Pogba back in the summer. They inquired about getting Pogba. Obviously they also inquired about getting De Gea, but due to that they missed out on Paul Pogba and De Gea, and that they've turned their attentions to Nemanja Matic. But Juventus anyway did really good business in the summer. They spent a substantial amount on De Ligt. Obviously they spent a substantial amount on Ronaldo last summer. So I'd love Nemanja Matic to leave the football club, because he's infuriated, with the lack of game time and that. Obviously, actually, Matic sustained quite a few injuries last season, but he's too slow in that midfield and he's one of the problematic players. So that's the news that's been breaking out in the last couple of days. Whether we decide to extend his contract by another year or not, I do not know, but we do have the option to do that. But how much do you think we could get for Nemanja Matic? If we was to cash in for him in January, maybe 15-20 million pounds, something like that. Obviously, with his inconsistency and reflecting on his age, we'd probably get around 15 or 20 million pounds for Nemanja Matic. But like I said, I've got a lot of element concerns about that midfield. We need to strengthen that midfield up in January. But yeah, we've still got quite a lot of midfielders, despite the fact that Ander Herrera and Marion Fellaini left, and it was infuriating, that we didn't recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera and Marion Fellaini, because Ander Herrera and Marion Fellaini, they were two long-serving players at the football club. Ander Herrera served 5 years at Manchester United. Obviously, Marion Fellaini, served 6 years at Manchester United and that. But we have still got Matic, Pogba, Angel Gomez, I think, Jimmy Garner, McTominay, Fred and Pereira. So we have still got quite a lot of midfielders in the team. In regards to Fred, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say at the start of the season he expects to see better things from Fred this season. And I thought Fred looked very lively, when he came on against Leicester. I don't know if it's a long-term solution again for Man United, Fred, but I think, he needs to be given more opportunities. So I would, go with Fred over Nemanja Matic, any day of the week. Obviously, we paid just under £50 million for Fred last summer, don't forget. He was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk, but he hasn't really performed to the same sort of level at Manchester United as Fred. So, I think he does need to be given more opportunities. But like I did say, we may go back in for Bruno Fernandes in January. Obviously, having Keys primarily an attacking midfielder. Don't forget, he was one of our main priority targets throughout the course of the summer was Bruno Fernandes. But obviously, we didn't manage to get him. And I did say, I would have been excited about the prospect of, Bruno Fernandes playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I do believe, they would have complemented each other, fantastically well. So I'm disappointed that we didn't get into. We may go back in for Bruno Fernandes in January. As you all know, there has been recent talks going on in regards to James Maddison from Leicester. It reportedly says, we could consider making a move for James Maddison in January, or we could go in for James Maddison next summer. Now, reportedly, he could be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's next signing. He could be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's next signing, James Maddison. Maybe we are seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba, because I still believe Paul Pogba's flat plans for the future is to make a move to Real Madrid, despite the fact that he's remained at the club for this summer. But James Maddison for me would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba. Obviously, James Maddison is primarily an attacking midfielder, don't forget. Brendan Rodgers has played him on the left-hand side quite a few times, but I think you mainly see the best of him in that attacking midfielder position, which is obviously his predominant position anyway. James Maddison is 22 years of age, don't forget. Obviously, this is his second season. This is his second season with Leicester. Obviously, last season was his debut season in the Premier League. Obviously, I think he was involved in 14 goals last season was James Maddison. Don't forget, he created more chances than any other player last season in the Premier League. I think he must have created around 100 chances. So, in that aspect, that's a very good statistic. And that's the type of calibre player that Manchester United do need. Leicester did pay around £20 million for James Maddison from Norwich last summer, and he did serve a good couple of years in the Championship with Norwich. but I do believe there was quite a few teams, you know, in for James Maddison when he was a youngster at Coventry, because he was a product of their academy in that. He also, I think, had a loan spell in Scotland with Aberdeen, but it reportedly says Man United have been tracking James Maddison since June. That was obviously earlier on in the summer, but we've only been tentatively linked to him. You know, he wasn't one of our main priority targets, you know, throughout the course of the summer. Don't forget, we did business with Leicester early on in the summer, you know, with Harry Maguire. So I think if Leicester are willing to do any business with James Maddison, you know, they would demand a similar fee. So they would want somewhere in the region of around £80 million for him. James Maddison, I think, has got 4 years left on his current contract with Leicester. So for me, you know, he would be the right solution for Manchester United. So he's another player. Christian Eriksen, you know, again, you know, was only tentatively linked with him. I think we inquired about getting Christian Eriksen, you know, towards the back end of the window. Obviously, he's also been on Real Madrid's agenda. He's another midfielder we've been in for. You know, went in for Dybala and Mandzukic, you know, towards the end of the window. Obviously, you know, that we were seeing them two as possible replacements for Romelu Lukaku. And I do believe, you know, if we are to go in for Jadon Sancho, I think we'll probably reignite our interest in Jadon Sancho next summer. So yeah, I think there'll be some players, you know, we will reignite our interest in January, but we've got to be competing for that top four by January in that. So in that aspect, you know, that can maybe make us have a competitive, you know, January transfer window in that, because it wasn't competitive enough, you know, throughout the course of the summer. But it's very imperative that we do, you know, qualify for the Champions League this season. That's very, very imperative indeed. In regards, you know, to Paul Pogba and that, obviously we know he didn't play in the game against Leicester, you know, which was a huge disappointment. You know, he wasn't missed. You could tell, you know, you could see, you know, the difference in that midfield. You know, when you take Paul Pogba out of the equation. Now, obviously Paul Pogba's only missed one game so far this season. Obviously he is out with an ankle injury at the moment. But like I did say, I think I'm hopeful that Paul Pogba, you know, is going to be back for the game against West Ham. Obviously, like I said, I still think Paul Pogba, you know, is considering leaving Manchester United, you know, in January or maybe next summer. But reportedly, you know, we're being ruthless in regards to our valuation, because we are sticking to the same sort of valuation, you know, we demanded, you know, earlier on in the summer, because we did quote out that we wanted around £180 million for Paul Pogba earlier on this summer. Obviously, you know, Real Madrid were not willing to pay that, and I didn't actually say in that aspect that was the main factor reason, that was the stumbling block, sorry, of Paul Pogba, you know, going out to Real Madrid. Obviously, reflecting on the substantial amount, you know, we're putting him. So reportedly, we want around £179 million for Paul Pogba in January. Whether Real Madrid are willing to pay this or not, I do not know. But I'm glad, you know, that we've convinced him to stay at the football club at least until January. You know, that's very, very good news. Even though he still wants out of the football club, like he confirmed early on this summer, Paul Pogba did say, you know, he's seeking for a new challenge, and, you know, he publicly admitted, you know, that he wants to leave Manchester United, and he wants to leave the club basically, you know, to rejuvenate his career. But he was relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid for the entirety of the summer, and he did have Milan running a transfer saga, you know, despite the fact that Real Madrid, you know, spent a substantial amount throughout the course of the summer. You know, they spent around, what, £300 million or over £300 million on 5 players, and, you know, and that, you know, they still, you know, want to get the pursuit of Paul Pogba. And I think, you know, Zinedine Zidane, you know, will be infuriated, you know, that he didn't get his number one priority target in that. And I think Paul Pogba himself will be infuriated that, you know, his transfer to Real Madrid, you know, didn't get completed throughout the course of the summer. Even though Christian Eriksen, like I said, was on Real Madrid's agenda, obviously, you know, Real Madrid's preference, you know, was Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen. But Paul Pogba did say earlier on this summer, you know, he said, you know, he wanted to, you know, play for Real Madrid at some point in his career, and he did actually classify Real Madrid as one of the biggest clubs in the world, and this is what, you know, Paul Pogba had said. But it wasn't only Real Madrid, you know, that would in for him this summer. You know, don't forget, you know, Barcelona inquired about getting him. Paul Pogba's brother Matthias, you know, he fueled quite a few. He fueled quite a bit of speculation, you know, throughout the course of summer, you know, regarding his brother and that. And he actually said quite recently that Paul Pogba has spoken to Lionel Messi, because Barcelona were in for him in the summer. Obviously, he recently said that, you know, allegedly before deadline day, that Paul Pogba had agreed to join PSG. He reportedly said he agreed around a £429,000 a week deal, contract as well, you know, to join PSG. But his move never materialised because of the Neymar side, because obviously there was a report circulating now, saying that Neymar, you know, could have made a return back to Barcelona. So reportedly PSG, you know, were in for Paul Pogba. So there was a host of clubs in for him, but it was, you know, the main architect, obviously, you know, was mainly Real Madrid. Was mainly Real Madrid, but there's still a possibility chance that, you know, Manchester United, you know, could renew Paul Pogba's contract. Obviously we do know that Paul Pogba's got 2 years left in his current contract at Manchester United, you know, with an option, you know, to extend it by a further year. And Pogba is, I think, the highest paid player at the club, or he's, you know, he's one of the highest paid players at the football club. Obviously Paul Pogba is on around 290 grand a week, so he's just on just under 300 grand a week at the football club. He recently said the other week that Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, you know, has had negotiations with the football club, you know, to discuss Paul Pogba's future and over the possibility, you know, of renewing his contract. If Paul Pogba, you know, is to renew his contract at Manchester United, I think obviously he'd demand a massive increase in his wages. He'd probably, an estimated guess, he'd probably be looking for somewhere in the region of around maybe 400, maybe £500,000 a week, you know, to sign a new long-term contract with the football club. And we do know, obviously, earlier on, obviously we do know that earlier on this summer as well, don't forget, you know, that there was talks about him going back to Juventus, because don't forget, Paul Pogba, you know, did have 4 good years in Turin with Juventus, but hasn't mainly, you know, replicated this at Manchester United. So in that aspect, you know, it has been disappointing. Obviously, before he sustained this injury this season, I think he's enjoyed a pretty decent start to this season. Not too good, I don't think. Like I said, I don't think he's performed to the same sort of extent as how Martial, Rashford, Daniel James, Al-Mamsak and Harry Maguire performed, but, you know, I still think he has done quite okay as Pogba. But he's played 4 games so far this season. He was actually, you know, impressive, you know, throughout pre-season, but Pogba's still got a lot of development in him. You know, he's 26 years of age. I did say the couple of main factor reasons why he does want to leave Man United, because maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, and maybe he wants to be in Champions League football and that, and maybe this is why, you know, he's so infuriated at Manchester United, is Pogba. He said the other week that, you know, Adidas, you know, they played a big part in Paul Pogba, you know, remaining at the football club this summer. Obviously, you know, Adidas reportedly intervened in his transfer to Real Madrid, and reportedly Adidas wanted Paul Pogba to remain at the football club because they think it's better for them commercially. So this is what Adidas's point of view is on it and that. But anyway, we do know now he's staying at the football club, but definitely in January, you know, we're going to have to get, you know, a midfielder in. But yeah, there's still problematic areas in the squad, you know, that definitely, you know, do need to be addressed. Like I said, with Anthony Martial, obviously, you know, he's been out there with a thigh injury, so obviously in that aspect, you know, Martial has missed the last 2 games for Man United. But, you know, I think Martial has had a great start to this season. You know, he's had a fantastic start to this season, you know, before he got his injury and that. And I think, you know, if Martial can keep the consistency up and he can avoid, you know, sustaining any more injuries, like I said, I think he can score at least 20 goals this season and that. Because I think there's a lot of things have improved about Anthony Martial's game. You know, he's got that finishing asset. You know, he's getting more them runs in behind now, and it confirmed at the start of the season that Anthony Martial has been given that number 9 shirt, which is very, very good. Very, very good that he's been given that number 9 shirt. So that means he's playing more centrally this season. You know, in that aspect, so it's comparable to Rashford, because obviously, you know, they can both play in the same position. You know, Rashford can play centrally, can play out wide. Martial can play centrally, can play out wide. But actually, Martial, you know, primarily plays out wide anywhere. But like I said, I think what I've seen of Martial so far this season is replicating, you know, what he did in his debut season at the football club, you know, back under Louis van Gaal, because he was very, very good in that debut season. Don't forget, Martial is under contract with the football club until 2024. So yeah, I've been very, very impressed there with him. In regards to Luke Shaw now, we do know he's missed the last 2 games like Anthony Martial. Obviously, Luke Shaw is out with a hamstring injury, I do believe. With Luke Shaw, you know, before he sustained this injury, you know, to be fair, I think he's had a pretty average start to this season as Luke Shaw, but, you know, he's still a very, very imperative player. Like I said, analysing the majority of Luke Shaw's career with Man United, I think he's been mainly consistent. Obviously, reflecting on his impressive performances last season, you know, he won the double player of the season, and Luke Shaw, has had, rough patches as a Man United player. He had a rough patch, under Jose Mourinho. Obviously, he's sustained quite a few injuries, but prior to that, I think he's done really, really well for the football club. So Solskjaer did confirm that Luke Shaw, will be out for the next week or two. So maybe, hopefully, he could be back for West Ham, or hopefully, he can be back for the game against, I think, Rochdale in the Cup, or the game against Arsenal at the end of this month. So obviously, with Luke Shaw not being injured and Diego Dalot being injured, obviously, we've had to play Ashley Young in the last couple of games. Obviously, Diego Dalot, as you all know, is out with injury. He's got a groin problem as Diego Dalot. Obviously, he's one of the backup options in that right back position. Even though Diego Dalot can play he can play in a couple of other positions. He can play at left back. He can play as a right winger, but he's predominantly a right back. Just basically like Ashley Young and that, and Wan-Bissaka. But Diego Dalot, yeah, has got a groin problem, but we don't know when he's going to regain full fitness. But should given his opportunities, sometime this season. Obviously, we do know that Eric Bailly's out. He's a long-term absence. He's out, I think, until the end of, December, or the new year. He's out with an knee injury. We know Foster Mensah is a long-term absence. Obviously, Lee Grant is out with injury. Jesse Lingard's been ill. Don't forget, he had to withdraw from the England squad the other week. Jesse Lingard, didn't play in the game against Leicester, and I'm glad he didn't play, to be quite fair, because he's been so inconsistent so far this season. And I think Lingard, is replicating, what he did in the last couple of months of last season, because he was poor in the last couple of months of last season. But still say that, Lingard is a long-term solution for Man United. Lingard definitely should be okay for the game against Astana on Thursday, or the game against West Ham on Sunday. And like I said, in regards to Wan-Bissaka, a lot of people believe, he's been our most consistent signing, so far from Wan-Bissaka. Like I said, we paid around, £50 million for Wan-Bissaka. So I think, his valuation will continue growing, if he does, keep this consistency up. Obviously, there was doubts before the game at the weekend against Leicester, that he could have actually, missed the game against Leicester, because don't forget, the other week, Wan-Bissaka had to withdraw from the England squad, with a back injury had sustained, and obviously that had prevented him, making his senior debut for England. So in that aspect, he would have been, infuriated with Wan-Bissaka, but he is only 21 years of age. So yeah, we have got quite a few injuries in the squad, but I think more players will definitely be back for the game against West Ham. More players will be back, for the game against West Ham. But for me, there's definitely more players that do need to leave the club. Like I said, this should be Ashley Young's last season as a Manchester United player. It's obviously reflecting on his age. Young is now 34 years of age. He's actually 35, I think, next year, if I'm right. Obviously, the club give Ashley Young a new 1-year extension last season. Obviously, he's past his sell-by date at the football club. I do believe he's young, but to be fair, I thought he did well in the Leicester game. He's obviously played at left back in the last 2 games. He's actually captained the side in the last 2 games as Ashley Young. But yeah, like I said, he has passed his sell-by date, and this actually should be his last season at the football club. Phil Jones, he's obviously been a long-serving player at the football club. I think he's a player Manchester United need to consider getting rid of in January or next summer, because he's a problematic player at the football club. Jones has been another long-serving player. Jones has been here 8 years. Jones is now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player, and especially with the arrival of Harry Maguire, he's going to find game time very, very difficult. Problematic player. Like I said, Matic, needs to go. So I think there's still problematic players at the football club, that I do need to move on, in my opinion. Need to move on in my opinion. But like I did say, want to be back, to be in a competitive elite level football club. But I think it's going to take us a couple of years at least, maybe even longer, to get us back, where we do want to be. But I did say, regardless who our manager is, no one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy, and we're never going to replicate, what we did under Alex Ferguson, because we did have 20-odd years of success under Alex Ferguson. But if you want to take into account, like, should we give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time, I'd say, yeah, because obviously, you know, reflecting back under the Alex Ferguson era, you know, don't forget, you know, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, and then obviously at that time he was on the verge of getting sacked, but he didn't. And then look what he accomplished, you know, Alex Ferguson. You know, we had 20 odd years of success in that. And I did say now, I'm hopeful that this team at this day and age, you know, can replicate, you know, what the team did under Alex Ferguson. But I did say, reflecting on the amount of money that's been spent at the football club in the last 6 or 7 years, we should be much more of a commanding position, you know, with them. Much more of a commanding position, you know, than we're in now. You know, over £140 million being spent this summer under Solskjaer. Obviously, you know, just under £400 million was spent under Jose Mourinho. Over £200 odd million was spent under Van Gaal. £67 million, you know, was spent under David Moyes. So an estimated guess, I think we've spent around nearly £900 million in the last 6 years on players. That's what we spent around. So I think I always say, always spending big on players, you know, and getting them Glasgow players doesn't always guarantee you success, and it's been proven with Man United in the last 6 or 7 years. So, but like I said, we're known for overpaying for players, but we can afford to do this because we're a massive club. You know, we've obviously, you know, got a massive revenues, so we can afford to overpay for players and that. But when it comes to letting the players go, we'll let them go for next to nothing. And you know, we have done that, you know, quite a few times this summer. You know, we did it in regards to Darmian. You know, we paid £12.7 million for him from Torino back in 2015. You know, he had 4 years at Manchester United. He'd been at the club since the Louis van Gaal era. Then obviously the other week it confirmed we let him go for just over £3 million to Parma. So he has, he's gone back to Italy basically. So we've lost out around £9.1 million there. Don't forget Ander Herrera. You know, we paid around, was it just under £30 million to him from Atletico Bilbao back in 2014, and he had 5 good years at Man United, and then we let him go on a free transfer early on in the summer. So again, in that aspect, bad business from the football club. And also, we haven't only spent big on players, you know, we've also now, as we talk, we've got players on, you know, big contracts with the football club, so we should be in a much better position, you know, than we're in now, you know, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Like I updated you earlier on this week with regards to the new director of football at Man United, I think we need to get, you know, if I'm quite honest with you, a new director of football, you know, into the football club. You could arguably say, you know, maybe if we'd have got that director of footballing, you know, earlier on in the summer, then maybe in that aspect, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, would have been backed more. But earlier on in the summer, you know, there was quite a few, you know, names, you know, there's quite a few candidate names, you know, linked with that director's role. You know, Ed Woodward had spoken to the likes of, you know, Ferdinand, Darren Fletcher, Evra, you know, regarding roles at the football club. Because obviously, I did say at the time, you know, it would have been, you know, beneficial to recommend someone in, you know, who knows about who knows the culture of the club, you know, someone of course has got their experience. But you know, we didn't get that director of footballing. But we know a lot of reports reflected out last week, you know, saying that, you know, we was considering, you know, giving Ed Woodward identified, you know, Edwin van der Sar as his #1 priority target, you know, to become the new director of football at the club. But we need that director of football anyway, in my opinion, because, you know, that's a structural change anywhere, you know, where we do need and that at the football club. But yeah, Edwin van der Sar, I think basically Ed Woodward is going on the experience basically, because obviously he has got the experience as, you know, Edwin van der Sar. You know, he's been the CEO at Ajax since 2016 and that, so I think he's now into his 4th season at Ajax. And don't forget, Edwin van der Sar knows about Manchester United, you know, because he served 6 years there with the football club and that. And I think, you know, if he came in, it's not assured he will come in, but there's been speculation about, you know, last week I think it was. I think he would be very reliable, you know, to oversee our transfer business and that. But I think actually, you know, that we didn't do enough investment in the summer. You know, we did get some good players in, but we didn't do enough investment. I think reflecting on that, you know, Solskjaer had actually spoken to Ed Woodward, you know, reflecting on, you know, the lack of business, you know, in the summer transfer market. But like I said, you know, I've been frustrated with the lack of silver in the last 6 years. I said, you know, in the last 6 years, you know, we haven't won out so far under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. You know, we won the Europa League and League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era. That came in Jose Mourinho's first season. Obviously, you know, we won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal era. Obviously, you know, that was back in 2016. Obviously, you know, we didn't win out under the David Moyes era, and you know, we haven't won the Premier League, you know, since 2013. And obviously, you know, that came came in Alex Ferguson's last season at the football club, and you can arguably say that particular season, Robin van Persie won us the league, you know, reflecting on the amount of goals and that he scored. Yeah, you can quite arguably say that, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, so like I did say, you know, this club, well, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like I said, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. You know, we are the most successful team in England historically. Looking at it historically, we are, obviously. You know, we've had great achievements. Obviously, the club's greatest achievement is obviously, you know, the treble in 1999. Obviously, we also, you know, provided a great achievement, you know, when we won 3 back-to-back titles back in 2007, 2008 and 2009. Obviously, if City can win the league this season, you know, they can match that. They can match that particular achievement we did. Obviously, City matched our greatest achievement last season by obviously, you know, winning an English domestic treble. Don't forget. But like I said, at the moment, City is a couple of years ahead of us at least, and Liverpool are a couple of years ahead of us. Are a couple of years ahead of us. But yeah, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, you know, should be safe for them at least this season, you know, regardless of what happens. As long as we're not, you know, in mid-table, or as long as, you know, we're not fighting relegation, you know, I think Solskjaer's job, you know, should be safe for them at least this season. So for me, he does need to be backed more, does Solskjaer. So yeah, I will back him all the way, you know, as how long he is manager of Manchester United and that. And don't forget, you know, when we did get him in, we're looking at it. He's a cheaper solution anyways, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Cheaper solution. Obviously, you know, we only paid a couple of £1 million to Mull to get him in as interim manager for 3 months, and then we only paid a further £7 or £8 million, you know, to give him the job permanently and that, you know. And obviously at the time before actually Solskjaer came in, you know, don't forget, you know, there was a few names linked with that managerial role at Man United. Don't forget we was in for Pochettino for a long time. You know, we also inquired, you know, about getting Zinedine Zidane. But yeah, I'll back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the way. So there may be another live video. There may be another live video, you know, coming up today. There may be another live video, like I said, you know, coming up today. Another one. If not, then I will be back on tomorrow. If more news does update, I will be straight back on this channel. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.